Testing mic. Hello. Hello everyone and welcome to the NRL PlayStation Tier 2 Bahrain Grand Prix. We are F1 Lover today and I'll be in the commentary box once again to commentate Tier 2 for the 4th time in Season 2. Only 15 drivers for tonight, not as many as you would have hoped for, but still, it's better than nothing, as the drivers will be winding up to start their laps soon. Interesting tyre choices at the moment. Looks like everyone has gone for soft compound tyres apart from DRA Norwegian boy, who's going to try set his first lap time on the mediums, but I presume he'll probably switch to the soft compound tyres later in this session, because I don't think he will be that competitive if everyone else is going for the mediums. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm just checking the stream is up correctly, which it should be, hopefully. But Norwegian boy on a hot lap, he did a pretty decent first sector, ran a bit deep into the tricky downhill braking, which is so easy to get wrong. But everyone out on track right now apart from Winyard the Cheeks and Dirk_2864. As Norwegian boys lost it, and luckily he's kept it out of the barriers. As the bot has just pinged everyone, so the viewers are starting to join up. As Josh has gone purple through sector 1, but Danilo sets the first lap time at 27.946, quickly followed by his teammates 28.0. Followed by Norwegian boys 37.8, but that is not a competitive lap time as he spun, I believe. And Lelo King, I think, might have been impeded a bit by the Aston Martin of Dizzy Mason, but it's the two Alfa Romeos who are up front right now, with Jetsy with the 26.8 and Dan Snyder with a 26.9, so very competitive from the Alfa Romeos to start the session. Hopefully they can keep this pace up as this session goes along. But Josh is into P5 with a 28.6, so it looks like we see Prem's just losing it on the exit of on the start of sector 2. So that is not what he would have liked. But it looks like everyone is opting for the soft compound tyres apart from the Norwegian boy, who's gone onto the mediums, currently 7/10 up on his lap time, but he will improve through this final sector as he spun on his last lap. So I expect his time to be improving as he heads towards the line now. What will it be? It'll be P4 27.7 for the Dutch Racing Alliance esports driver, so very good lap time from him, puts him in P4, and if he wanted to, he could stay out on the medium tyres. Obviously the medium to hard is the optimal strategy around Bahrain, but Kieran, the Tier 3 championship leader, posts a very competitive lap time and puts himself up into P3, reserving for the reigning Tier 2 champion AGR UK today. But good stuff for Alpine, who will be loving this as their reserve driver isn't losing any pace and is keeping up with the top guns in NRL Tier 2. As Kenny Crunt improves to P9 and 29.2. Good lap time from the Dutch driver, but let's ride on board with Dizzy Mason for a bit. 28.5. First sector is purple, but I'm not quite sure if that's correct, because his turn 1 didn't look very clean compared to the other drivers who set lap time so far, but it's not been a terrible lap from the Aston Martin drivers so far, who has been struggling for form this season in NRL. Obviously he's been reserving in both Tier 2 and Tier 3, but I don't think has registered any points so far, so unfortunate for the Aston Martin driver, who has a big moment through the long left-hander. It's not a purple sector 2, so 107.0. He's also out of ERS, which is not going to aid him on his lap time at all, and he shifts up to 8th gear. I don't know if he's backing off, maybe going into the pit lane. It looks like he's not going to. He runs up to the line. It's going to be P9 for the Aston Martin, a 29.4, decent lap time from the British driver. Will get him on the board. Let's ride on board with MW15. He's done a 28.4 first sector, so a bit slower than Dizzy Mason's first sector, as we now have Manu the Cheeks also an outlap, and Dirk second place in championship on the lap, and he goes 6th place, the 27.8. Good lap time from the Ferrari driver, but not what he would have been hoping for. He'd be hoping to be challenging his championship rivals Jetsy and Dan Snyder for the top positions, as we know Crumpton was also in this tier only last week, but has now been moved up to Tier 1 as he was too quick for this tier, let's say. But let's hope he has a good time in Tier 1 is all. I think Emright is having a bit of issues with his wheel, as his car was randomly braking on the exit of the corner, so maybe some pedal issues for the McLaren drive, but he goes P10, the 29.2, so if he does have issues, that is unfortunate, but you'll have to see what happens here. Manu the Cheeks is also in a lap, another quick driver from Tier 3 who's reserving today. Let's see what he can do through the middle sector, looking for about a 105, and that is a 105. He can be very competitive on this lap time. He could be on pole position, as he just needs to get the final corner right. He gets his braking nailed as he rounds the final corner up to the line. Dirk improves on his second lap on the softs to P4, but Manu the Cheek goes P3 with 26.9, so right behind Dan Snyder on the soft compound tyres as well, who I think was on a lap but has backed off. Is Jetsy starting a lap. Dizzy Mason said that wasn't a bad lap time for me. Yep, definitely not a bad lap time at all. Very good lap time from the British driver, who currently sits P12, but can definitely improve. There's still lots of time to find as we now ride on board with the one man who is certainly finding the time. He gets turn 4 hooked up beautifully, but he's actually 1800ths down on his lap, so maybe not finding the time he would have wanted. As Prince goes to P5 with 27.3, also a man in this championship battle so far. So the 4 main championship protagonists are in the top 6, with the 2 reserve drivers down at Alpine P3 and P4, so very good showing for them, maybe proving why they should be in Tier 2, but I'm sure they'll want to stay in Tier 3. And battered it out, Jetsy's lost it, and he's tapped the wall, but I don't think any damage for the Alfa Romeo driver. That is very lucky. He was lucky to escape without any damage. That has completely scuppered his second run, but he can go for another run on those tyres, but he will need to cool them off drastically. But Dan Snyder, his teammate, who's currently P2, is also on a lap, so let's see what he can do to challenge his teammate through Sector 1. He's about 900ths up. He's not purple through Sector 1, as they are quicker on track. He makes a bit of a mistake out of turn 7, I want to say. Gets on the exit curb, which loses you so much time on this game. Down into first, gets it nice and rotated in the downhill braking, as now the Aston Martin and the AlphaTauri Prince and Dizzy Mason getting out of the way nicely for the Alfa Romeo. He flicks it down into 4th, gets it to 5th, doesn't make the same mistake as his teammate on the exit of the corner. Let's see what his middle sector is. He's about 500 up on his lap time, but will that be enough to get his teammate? As it stands, it will not, but he might be able to find a bit of time through this final sector. Let's see what the Alfa Romeo driver can do as he runs up to the line. He's going to pull into the pit lane, so he does not want to complete the lap time. He must have, that final corner didn't look too clean, so that must have cost him a chance of going P1. But let's ride on board with Prince, who's now starting a lap, or is he? No, it looks like he's just he's giving Danilo a slipstream down towards turn 1, so he was not starting a lap. Very nice teamwork from AlphaTauri there. So let's ride on board with the AlphaTauri that is on a lap, which is Danilo. Let's see what he can do in this very nice. Oh, he's into the wall. He's into the wall, and he's lost all of his front wing, I believe. Yeah, that is all of the front wing gone for the AlphaTauri. He just had a bit of a moment on the exit of turn 4, and unfortunately has lost his wing. Looks like Pierre Gasly from last season as Javel has joined the session, but that is during qualifying, so he will be penalised for joining late. There we go, Norwegian boy with 26.8 on the soft compound tyres. Qualifying is getting interesting, ladies and gentlemen, as now the first Alfa Romeo is starting. The first Alfa Romeo of Dan Schneider is leaving his garage. Let's see what he can do, but provisionally, for now, it's Norwegian boy on provisional pole. But doesn't look like anyone's on a lap at the moment, but actually, oh no, M315's on an out lap. Koenig Klon is interestingly stuck on the medium compound tyres, so maybe he's looking to start on the optimal strategy. We saw Norwegian boy, I think it was, try that early in the session, but he bailed out of it and is now gone for the soft compound tyres like everyone else. As there's a McLaren off in sector 2, that is Prems, who's cut the track, I guess you could say. Let's ride on board. Oh, he's lost his wing. Okay. Well, that's not very nice for the McLaren drivers. Koenig Klon looks like he just went too fast on his soft compound tyre run and has lost. He was 9/10 slower, so not optimal for the Haas driver, but maybe he still has some time in the bag. At the moment, Prince in that MW15 starting a lap, and he's 3/10 up through the first sector. So let's see what he can do towards the end of his lap. Can he get anywhere in near the top 5, who are all in the 26s, apart from Kieran, who's on a 27.2, but I expect to improve to get into the 26s. But it looks like Alfa Romeos and Kieran have gone out very early for their last run, because there's still 3 minutes left in the session, but they've all joined a bit early. But M315 is purple through sector 2. He's about 6/10 up on his lap. What can he do coming out of the final corner? Currently 1.2 seconds down on Haswanis, who sits in P10. Hopefully he doesn't get the bug out of the final corner. No, he does not, as he runs up to the line. Can he put himself in the top 10? Yes, he can. He goes P9 with a 27.8. So decent lap time from the McLaren, who looks like he wasn't hampered on that lap time by his inconsistent pedals. Well, let's ride on board with Dan Schneider, who's currently a 10th up on his first sector. Norwegian boy is also in a lap, I believe. He's 2/10 up on his middle sector. Not purple though, but he definitely has the pace to extend his lead here as he runs towards the final corner. What can the Aston Martin do? He will start on older tyres than those behind him, but this can be a very nice lap time for Aston Martin if he gets it right out of the final corner. It's a 26.6. Very nice lap time from the Norwegian driver. Can Dan Schneider challenge him at the top? Dan Schneider goes P2 with 26.671, so he misses out by a couple hundredths. Let's ride on board with Jetsu, who's coming through the second sector. He is backed off. He's 9/10 down. He's backed off, so he's going to go for it again on that set of tyres. But Kieran is also in a lap. He's a couple hundredths up, but has also backed off his lap. So it looks like everyone is going to wait a bit is even Dirk has backed off of his lap. So everyone looking to get the best of the track right at the end of the session. They've all backed off and going for their final runs. MW15 has gone for another run on his softs and does not improve. His 5 times down, and I don't think will improve for the rest of the session. VAR Josh is on a 27.9, and he's gone out on the medium tires, but has interestingly decided to maybe use another lap to heat up the tires, as he's not going for it this lap. As Wanis is on the softs and out lap, but I don't think anyone's in the lap, but Jetsy is actually. So ignore my comment. Let's see what the can do coming towards the second. Coming towards the downhill braking section, which is very easy to lock up in. Can he put himself up onto the front row and dislodge his teammate? He doesn't get it wrong like we saw him do earlier in the session. Gets it nice, 3 attempts up. This will be a pole lap time. He runs a bit deep though on the exit of sector 2, but if he can keep up this pace, Jetsy also will sit on pole. Norwegian boy is at the final corner. Norwegian boy is always impeded him. Norwegian boy gets in the way of Jetsy, who was on the pole lap time. And could that have been an intentional blocking from the Aston Martin, who now pulls into the pit lane? If it is, that is not very nice. That is dirty tactics from the Aston Martin. But he impeded Jetsy on what I believe would have been a pole lap time. So that's disaster for Alfa Romeo, as Dan Snyder's in the pit lane and will not improve either. But can Munya De Cheeks or Kieran possibly put their cars on pole? Munya De Cheeks is down on his lap time. So let's ride on board with his teammate Kieran, who's a bit further on with his lap. Can he go onto pole position or onto the front row, which Jetsy could not because he got impeded? Let's see what the Alpine does towards the line. Can he put himself in 26.7? Not good enough for P3. Munya De Cheeks improves by a few hundredths, but he stays P5. Prince Clonte is about a 10th down his lap time. Doesn't look like he'll improve. Dirk is into the pit lane. Danilo's into the pit lane. Haswanes runs up to the line. Where can the Rebel put himself? He improves to P6, 26.9. 6 drivers in the 26s. Dizzy Mason on the mediums will not improve. Can Prince pull anything back in this final sector? No, he's going to pull into the pit lane. So that is qualifying over. DRA Norwegian boy is on pole, but possibly interesting tactics going down at Aston Martin, as we saw him slightly impede the Alfa Romeo of Jetsy, who possibly could have taken pole position on that lap, and I believe would have taken pole position. But Dan Snyder starts P2 in 26.6, Kieran P4 26.7, and Munya De Cheeks 26.8. So very good showing from the tier 3 boys. Haswanis P6 with 26.9, Prince Clonte P7, Dirk P8, Danilo P9, Mdoy 15 P10, Josh P11. Dizzy Mason starts P12 in the Aston Martin. So Josh, Dizzy Mason, Colin Clont, Prems will all have a free choice of tyres in this race. So let's see what they can do coming towards the end of the coming towards the start of this race, sorry. But Norwegian boy takes pole position in what is a controversial qualifying session, as we saw him impede this man Jetsy. He could have taken pole position if it weren't for the Aston Martin impeding his lap time. But we'll have to wait and see what the race stores. Possibly the Alfa Romeos could jump the Aston Martin down towards turn 1. But an interesting fact, last season DRA Norwegian boy took pole position in tier 1, and this season he's taken it in tier 2. So 2 poles out of 2 for the Norwegian driver at this track. Let's see if he can convert. Last time in tier 1 he didn't, but maybe he can today. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens for this race. Is in the Chinese for a lot of after quite in it. Sorry, at the fight session. So see that has to win could have been time. Do it in the end of this that just for racing this is making power. Is this any better? My mic just does this sometimes. Hopefully this is better for you guys and you can hear the stream okay, but we'll just have to work with this for now, as it normally fixes itself after about 5 to 10 minutes, so hopefully this is better for you guys. But we have Lelo King, who's he's lagging. I thought he'd left the session already, but it looks like everyone is in this session, so we'll have all 15 drivers ready and racing. And the tyre choices at the back is interesting. All have opted for the mediums apart from Prems, who's going aggressive down at McLaren. He's going for the soft compound tyres. So will it pay off for the McLaren driver? I thought the optimal strategy would have been starting on the soft compound, starting on the medium compound tyres if we're outside the top 10, but apparently not down at McLaren, who both drivers start on the soft compound tyres. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes on during this race. Obviously last season in Tier 2 it was a very it's Norwegian boy, the pole man, has spun on the formation lap. Anyways, as I was saying, last season in Tier 2 was a very mixed up race with Jayville taking the win. Unfortunately today's race he wasn't able to get into this session. But all the drivers are lining up to the grid now. Will the Alfa Romeos jump Norwegian boy at the start? His tyres might be a bit hot, as we saw him spin on his formation lap, but all 15 drivers are lining up to start this race. Let's see what everyone can do. It'll be Norwegian boy versus the two Alfa Romeos versus the two Alpines. Zwanis might get in the mix as well. Prince Kronte can definitely steal a win. Dirk has already won this season. It's going to be a Bahrain duel you'll never forget. But here we go towards 5 red lights as Wiggly Style extends his subscription to the channel. Thank you for extending the subscription, as we're just waiting for Lelo King to ready up and then we will begin. But thank you Wiggly Star for extending the subscription. Of course, if you guys do want to get involved with that, you can check the prices by pressing the subscribe button. It can help us, it helps the league massively if you subscribe, and you get some cool exclusive emotes which normal viewers will not be able to access, as we're just waiting for Lelo King, whose internet is letting him down once again. So I'll just send a message out to Lelo King. Oh, it was session under 5 red. Here we go. It's a good start for Dan Snyder in the Alfa Romeo. He jumps DRA Norwegian boy before they even get anywhere near turn 1, and there's a massive crash at the back. There's 2 cars out, both McLarens are out of the race. Oh my god, but Norwegian boy has dropped, and there's a virtual safety car, and there's loads of contact, so there will be 5-second time penalties. But what on earth happened there? There was a massive crash between Danilo and the two McLarens, who've now dropped all the way to the back of the grid. What a disastrous start, and it's a full safety car. I don't know what to say. That was... I didn't really see the incident, but that was a crazy start. But the good news for Alfa Romeo is Norwegian Boy is up into P1. The bad news is Jetsi is down to P4. So the running order now is Dan Snyder, DRA Norwegian Boy, Kieran, Jetsi, Munya De Cheeks in the Alpine, has Wannis, Prince and Dirk all retain their position. Josh is P9 up to P9 on the medium compound tyres. DC Mason P10 on the mediums. Koenig Klon P11 on the mediums. Lelo King P12, but I believe that is his AI bot as he left the session. And Danilo P13 with no front wing. As Dizzy Mason says, it was AlphaTauri's fault. I didn't see it, so I can't say anything. Just focus on the racing, and the stewards will review it after the race. But very chaotic start in NRL Tier 2, and all the leaders are in. DRA Norwegian Boy and that Snyder box. Kieran stays out, Jetsi stays out, Munya De Cheek stays out, Prince stays out, Dirk stays out. So it looks like only Norwegian Boy has won this. Oh no, sorry, that Snyder stayed out actually. So he must have faked going into the pit lane, and it definitely faked me as well. As Norwegian Boy and Haswanis are the only two people who box for new mediums, and of course Danilo will be coming into the pit lane for new mediums as well, with none of his front wing remaining in this race. So it's been a very chaotic start. Let's just look at, sorry, not the fastest lap, position change. Das Snyder's up 1, Kieran's up 2, Jetsi retained his starting position, Munya De Cheeks moved up 1, making it Alfa Romeo 1-3 and an Alpine 2-4. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys fare. Prince starts in P5, he's moved up 2 positions but has a 5-second time penalty. Dirk has moved up 2 positions, Josh has moved up 4, Dizzy Mason up 4, Koenig Klon up 4, so those guys have gained massively from the safety car incident. Is down 9 positions, but he has boxed for new mediums of course. His Wannis is down 9 positions as well, he's also boxed, so down 6 positions, is also boxed for new mediums. And then Danilo, who we saw get involved in that safety car incident, is down to P13. So hopefully if Danilo catches up to the pack, we can get racing again this lap. As Dizzy Mason is saying, he had a good start. Yep, good job. P8 now, so be interesting to see how you do in the rest of the race. But the safety car is not in this lap, which is rather unfortunate. So I will take this time to run you through the driver standings at the moment. As just looking at the chat, and it looks like the McLaren boys are very angry at the AlphaTauri of Danilo, who's somehow managed to wipe out both McLarens. So no score, no points for McLaren in today's race, which is rather unfortunate, as they were sitting in P7 with the chance to move up massively in this race if they scored some points, as P6 and Championship Williams are not, neither drivers are present today. But let's run you through the championship standings. Crumpton 2005 currently in P1 with 45 points, but he has been promoted to Tier 1, so will no longer score any points in this season, so he's essentially void from the season. Dirk _2864 is P2 with 40 points with Dan Snyder, who's currently leading this race in P3 with 40 as well. Jetsi is currently on 36 points with Prince Clonte matching the Alfa Romeo driver with 36 points, whilst Josh, who's currently P7 in this race on the mediums, is on 24 points and closely followed by his teammate who's on 16 for Red Bull. Pinty, who has left the league, is on 16, well, finished on 16 points. Jayville is on 14 points currently. MW15, who's currently out of this race due to an incident with the AlphaTauri and his teammate, is down to will probably move down in today's championship and only has 11 points. Norwegian boy, who made his debut last week, is on 10 points. Prem's on 8 points. Silstadini on 7. Koenig Kront has scored 2. And Danilo, who was involved in that massive incident at the back, has only scored 1 point. So we'll have to wait and see what happened on the safety car. We'll have to wait and see what happened on the start. But here we go. Let's get ready for the safety car restart. Dan Snyder's holding up the pack. When will he go? Will he go out of the final corner? He's going to wait. He's going to delay it. Everyone is not sticking to single file. But he's going to... Kieran is already overtaking him. But we get racing. It's a late restart. But Dan Snyder retains his lead down towards turn 1. But can Kieran maybe have a look into towards turn 1? He's going to stay behind. Prince is going to look for a move on Jetsy, who actually gets overtaken by Monye de Cheeks, and Dirk slips around the outside. The AlphaTauri is Jetsy is round. Jetsy is spun on the curb. I wonder if there was maybe contact between him and Monye de Cheeks, but it looked like he just lost it on the exit of turn 3. Is now Josh and Dizzy Mason go side by side, and Dizzy Mason makes a move on the Red Bull driver, and he's now up into P6. But there goes Hezwanis around the outside of his teammate, and I think Josh might have some damage. He's struggling. Dizzy Mason has lost and is into the water, and Hezwanis had to take avoidant action. But what a restart for Norwegian boy. He's already up into P3 in this race. What a start. What a restart from the Aston Martin driver, who's absolutely flying at the moment. And with his current pace and his current tyres, you'd expect him to go on to win this race, but anything can happen, as we've seen many times already in Tier 2. But it's been a good restart for the Aston Martin of Norwegian boy, but not so much for his teammate, who was running P6 until he spun. And actually looks like Money the Chiefs and Jetsy both got caught up, so I presume they definitely made contact out of turn 4, and looks like Jetsy's going to box for damage, I believe. So that's really unfortunate for the man who's currently in P4 in the standings. But now here comes Koenig Kront down the inside of Danilo. He's going to leave the AlphaTauri space, but the AlphaTauri cuts across and has lost the rear end on the exit. He's round and will now drop down to P12 in this race. But Dan Snyder currently has a gap of 1.6 at the front. Norwegian boy is only 7/10 of Kieran and has some really nice pace at the moment. So if he can keep this up, he is definitely the favourite to win on the optimal strategy as well. He can just go straight from these medium to the hard tyres, just like the people who started this race on the medium tyres. So it looks like the Aston Martin made the correct strategy call, but at the time I definitely thought it was wrong, as everyone else stayed out on the softs. But it looks like the medium tyres are pretty much equal on pace to those of the soft run tyres. We see Hezwanis run a bit wide on the exit of the long banked right hander, but Diore Norwegian boy is only 4/10 off, as that Money the Cheeks is round. Money the Cheeks is round, and he gets overtaken by Dizzy Mason. He picks up the 3-second time penalty. But that's Snyder sets the fastest lap. Norwegian boy is tucked up right behind the Alpine of Kieran and sets the fastest lap to himself. So very, very good pace from the Aston Martin driver, who's now all over the gearbox of Kieran. I think that might have been a track limits to see him warning, but he doesn't care. He goes to the inside of Kieran, and they seem to be moving in tandem, as they both went to the inside and both went to the outside. But he gets a move anyways as Kieran runs a bit deep. Very nice move from the Norwegian driver. Can Kieran fight back? No, it doesn't look like he can't. So it looks like Norwegian boy is the man to beat so far, as those softs will have zero advantage at this stage of the race over those medium tyres, and he's making the mediums work, as now we see Prince and Josh Haswanis in battle. Prince runs deep and Haswanis gets a beautiful switchback on the AlphaTauri. Great move from the British driver, I believe, on the outside of his Dutch compatriot. As now his teammate tries on Prince Conte, but cannot get the same success that his teammate did a few corners ago. But he will have another chance down the straight as Dizzy Mason gets past the AI car of Lelo King. His internet needs to be sorted out, but we'll work on a fix for that next week. But Haswanis now is all over the back of Dirk, and Prince has had a very, very poor exit. Dirk is boxing already, so he's had enough of the soft compound tyres. Josh might look for the move on Prince, but Prince has a lot more ERS than the AlphaTauri at the moment, as Prince runs very deep towards turn 1 via Josh's fake move. Possibly just threw the AlphaTauri off, but it's good defending from the AlphaTauri, who just leads the Red Bull onto the curb and gets better traction out of the exit of the corner, so retains his P5. But those medium tyres are definitely quicker than the soft compound tyres at the moment, so it looks like Norwegian Boy and the rest of the runners who box for new mediums under safety car made the correct choice. It's working out for Haswanis and Norwegian Boy, who both made that gamble, and Danilo not so much. He also made a gamble, but we saw him spin whilst battling with Conan Crutch, who's currently running in a very lonely P7 at the moment. So you have to wait and see, as Prince's soft tyres are dead at the moment. You can see Josh has so much more grip through every corner, and even the gap at the front is 1.5. It's gone down from 2 seconds to 1.5 in the space of about 2 laps. So you can definitely tell the mediums are the favourable tyre to be on, as Prince Conte is surely going to be overtaken by the superior Red Bull. Kieran is into the pit lane on his soft tyres. He's had enough. So maybe the run call, as Dirk has gone into a set of the mediums, so he will be looking at the 2-stop, as those mediums will definitely not make it towards the end of the race. But it looks like Josh is going to go for the switchback. Doesn't quite get the rotation he needs in third gear, which is not what he really wanted, and he took some of the curb, which is catastrophic to getting a good exit out of this track. So he'll have to stick behind yet another lap, and this will be so frustrating for the Red Bull driver, who just sees his teammate pull off into the distance, although he knows he has the pace. The challenger's teammate is going to look for a bit of a dive on the AlphaTauri. It's getting a bit frustrating now, but Prince just holds on. Good defending from the AlphaTauri is doing enough to frustrate his fellow Red Bull driver, who now cuts the corner and picks up another warning, as Dizzy Mason picks up his second 3-second time penalty. Is Prince has 5 seconds, which I presume was from a collision. As Conan Cronitz off into the barriers. Unfortunate for the Haas driver, who loses the rear end, I presume. Hopefully it wasn't contact with any other drivers, but he drops now to P8 in this race and will be under pressure from Dizzy Mason in the Aston Martin. But surely Josh is going to get the move done, as DRA Norwegian Boy is just outside DRS range of the Alfa Romeo ahead of him. But let's cut back to the battle for P4. Here comes VR Josh. He has no ERS compared to the AlphaTauri of Prince. Prince makes a late move, but Josh sees it coming. He goes to the outside. Will he look for the switchback? No, he won't. Prince is going to defend it well as they come onto the exit of turn 3. Prince got the DRS, so that means he'll stick in front of the Red Bull for yet another lap. So this is disaster for Red Bull at the moment, as Kieran gets past Dirk towards turn 1, and then now all over the back of Dizzy Mason, who's had a bit of a poor exit from turn 3, but Kieran has a bit of a moment, so now Dirk can also attack him down towards turn 1. Kieran is going to go round the outside of Dizzy Mason. Can he make it work? Dizzy Mason runs a bit deep and almost and pushes Kieran completely off track, but it looks like Dirk is going to get the nice double move on both of them, taking advantage of Dizzy Mason, taking out taking out Kieran, but Prince Conte is into the wall, and it's another safety car in this race. And this has thrown a massive curveball into this race. As obviously the soft compound tyre runners are going to box for new hards, but do the guys on mediums right now, do they also box for new hards? It looks like Norwegian Boy's going to do it. Norwegian Boy's boxing for new hards. Would has Swanis follow him into the pit lane? Because essentially from here they could do a medium to medium tyre strategy if they started on the softs, of course. But it looks like everyone is going to put into the pit lane, so there will be a double stack down at Red Bull, who have actually put the soft compound tyres on Haswanis. So very interesting strategy call from the Red Bull team, and they've also done the same to VR Josh. So I'm not quite sure what the strategy is down at Red Bull, as they've both gone for the soft compound tyres, which will definitely not last until the end of this race. The Snyder has gone for the mediums, which he can make work for the end of the race, but they will be completely dying towards the end. And Norwegian Boy has gone for the mediums, which is obviously the most durable tyre and will definitely make it towards to the end of this race. Has Wanis, who's gone for the softs, we saw. Danilo stayed out in his mediums. Josh has gone for the softs. Moya the Cheeks has gone for the mediums, who will be in the same situation as Dan Slider. Obviously will be able to stretch these tyres towards the end of the race, but they will not be liking him at all come the end of the race. They will be completely dead. I've done 20 laps on mediums around here, and they start to die around lap 11 of their stint. So towards the end of this race, you could see Norwegian Boy challenging Dan Snyder for the win, as the Snyder's tyres will start to drop off. Kron has followed the two Red Bulls onto the soft compound tyre. Dirk has gone for the mediums. Kieran has gone for the hards, the smartest option. Dizzy Mason has gone for the softs. Lelo King has also gone for the softs, but he's an AI. And Jetsy has gone for the mediums. So interesting tyre choices from everyone in the grid. Looks like everyone is split on tyres apart from Danilo, who stayed out on his set of the mediums. So he will most likely have to do another stop unless he has an amazing drive on tyres. If he does a Checo Perez and stretches these tyres to the end, but very unlikely from AlphaTauri. I presume he'll have to make another pit stop in today's race, but it looks like the safety car will stay out another lap to give him another opportunity to box, which he passes up. So interesting down to AlphaTauri. Of course, AlphaTauri did trigger this second safety car. Prince Colontes losing it on the exit of the tricky downhill braking section, I believe turn 9 in this track. So rather unfortunate for the AlphaTauri, but he can bounce back, of course, next week in USA. That's a track we haven't been to for a while in NRL, so it'll be quite interesting to see how the drivers fare in that race. But hopefully it will be a good race for everyone, and everyone will be able to make it to the end. But put in chat who you think will win this race right now. I think he'll be very close, but I'm going to go for Norwegian Boy, simply because his pace on the mediums compared to Daznali's pace on the softs. Norwegian Boy was a lot quicker. I know Daznali's softs were dying, but still, he shouldn't have been like 1 to 2 tenths quicker than Alfa Romeo, because you know Daznali is a very quick driver. So it'll be interesting to see if he can hold off Norwegian Boy, but Norwegian Boy will definitely be resurgent towards the end of this race. And of course, this is if there's no safety cars, which I highly doubt will be happening. I can definitely see another safety car happening in this race. I could definitely see another safety car happening in this race. But oh, it was Dan Snyder and Norwegian boy almost made contact, and they do, but it looks like Dan Snyder just ghosted through him. So maybe a bit of lag going on between the two drivers, but we will soon be getting underway. And it looks like some drivers clearly haven't read the rule book, which I released today, as Danilo, what is he doing? Why is he overtaking Haswanis? They've not even gotten towards the safety car line and he's just overtaken him. So I'm not quite sure what AlphaTauri was planning, but they've broken away. The top two have broken away from the rest of the pack. We've had an interesting safety car restart to say Josh is up. No, Josh has not moved up. That was Haswanis, sorry. But Dirk is getting overtaken by Monye de Cheeks, who's gone and moved on in towards turn 1. DRA Norwegian boy is out of the race. He's lost it immediately on those hard compound tyres. And that is the disadvantage of the hards. Although they are the most durable tyre, they have zero grip. And I presume he had no temperature in his tyres, which is expected on a safe start on the hard compound tyres. Is treacherous. And he is livid in chat. The swear words are coming out in the chat as Monye de Cheeks had a little look on Danilo but didn't get the move done. But Danilo has a terrible exit on the exit and he makes the move. Monye de Cheeks makes the move up into P4. So good stuff from the Alpine driver right now. But now the two Red Bulls are up into P2 and P3 and they will be hunting down Dan Snyder in P1 for this race. But this will be short-lived pace for the two Red Bulls as those soft compound tyres will fall off very quickly. So now see Conan Kron go for the move on Danilo down towards the final corner, gets it done but runs very deep, runs off track, which is going to give him a terrible exit, and now he could be under pressure from Dizzy Mason. Both have no ERS left to deploy for this lap, but can Dizzy Mason look for the move down towards turn 1? Conan Kron's not using the ERS. Dizzy Mason's going to use a lot of it down towards turn 1, around the outside. Can the Aston Martin driver get the move done? Yes, he can, around the outside. Good move from the Aston Martin, moves himself up into P7 in this race. As now Jetsy is all over the back of Conan Kron. So one man, Jetsy, after his after his contact and safety car restart with Monye de Cheeks, he's now making a comeback in this race. But the gap at the front is now down to 1.1. So good pace from the Red Bulls so far, but it looks like Kieran has had to box again for new mediums. Is Danilo's into the wall, and those 10-lap pole mediums were not what he wanted. He was just falling through the field. Everyone was overtaking him, and in the end he's ended up losing it into the barriers. So wrong strategy call coming out at Aston Martin, as we now see Haswanis trying to catch up, close the gap to Dan Snyder, and he is within DRS range. Edgy UK says Alpine Constructors Season 2. Well, firstly you need to both be in the session if you want to win the championship. You're just lucky you've got 2 reserves for you tonight. But yeah, so good luck winning the championship. It will be tough with these 2 Alfa Romeos and these 2 Red Bulls, which are looking very strong on form. But Haswanis is all over the back of Dan Snyder and is now in the DRS range, but VR Josh is not able to stick with the top 2. So he now picks up a 3-second time penalty and is now going to fall further behind these guys. He's not even in the DRS, as Danilo has lost it on the exit of turn 3. So unfortunate for the Colombian driver, he's not been able to find his spark this season. Thank you for following Angel Dion. I'm hoping you're enjoying the stream so far, as I see you're rooting for Monye de Cheeks. This is Wanis now goes for the move on Dan Snyder and gets the move done. He's up into P1 for Red Bull in today's race. Very nice move from the Red Bull driver, who capitalized on the poor pace of the Alfa Romeo, who possibly had a bad exit out of the tricky downhill braking section. but he will now have the DRS on the Red Bull, so he can maybe look to attack him back. As Money in the Cheeks, who's been rooted for by Angel Dion, is currently 1.4 off VR Josh, who's a further 1.8 off the top two. So maybe if all these 4 cars can close in, we can have a 4-way battle for P1, which is definitely something we want to see, as Jetsy gets the move done on Dizzy Mason down towards turn 1. But now Koenig Klont is going to look for the move on Jetsy, but he misjudges this braking point, and now Jetsy just gets an easy switch back, and Dizzy Mason had to take avoiding action on the Haas, who had a bit of a moment on the exit, as both these drivers have 0 ERS. But Dizzy Mason is going to be later on the brakes, and possibly too late, as he runs into Koenig Klont, and Koenig Klont might have invisible damage from that incident, and he's understeering a lot, so maybe he does. And he also forgot to turn off his ERS button, which doesn't help. But it looks like both these drivers are struggling for grip, so this could be foreshadowing what is happening to the leaders at the front. The 2 Red Bulls at the front, whose tyres will definitely be starting to drop off, but not for Haswanis, who's currently 1.1 ahead of Dan Snyder. So Dan Snyder's not able to catch up to, not able to stick with the Red Bull's pace at the moment, and Josh is off Dan Snyder, so running at around the same pace as Dan Snyder. But the fastest man on the medium tyres right now is Money the Cheeks, who's pushed himself into the DRS range of the Red Bull in front. The problem is he has no ERS, and neither does VR Josh. Money Haswanis has 30% ERS, and Dan Snyder has around 65%. So he is definitely chilling on ERS at the moment. But Jetsy will be desperate to catch up to these guys. He also has around similar ERS levels to his teammate, and so does Dirk, who just doesn't look to have the pace at the moment to challenge the guys in front of him. But I think we could be seeing the same thing we saw happening to Dan Snyder in stint 1. Those soft compound tyres are starting to drop off, and now the mediums are starting to become the quicker tyres. We see Money the Cheeks is now in the DRS range of VR Josh, and will be challenging him down in the main straight, as the gap is 1.1. so Haswanis hasn't been able to push away from Dan Snyder. I think we're starting to see the turning point. Those soft tyres are starting to become slower than the mediums, which are now the tyre to be on. So maybe this gamble by Red Bull hasn't really paid off as they would have liked, but Money the Cheeks now, if he can get past the Red Bull, maybe he can go and have a look at Dan Snyder for what will be the race win, as Haswanis has made a massive mistake. He's lost it on the exit of the final corner, and that is disastrous for the Red Bull. He was looking so good until his mistake. He now comes straight into the pit lane. Hopefully for him, he hasn't gotten any damage, as no damage down at Red Bull, just a new set of tyres, so that is lucky for him. But his teammate now is exposed to Money the Cheeks, but Money the Cheeks is just going to stick behind, and I think he's just harvesting the ERS behind the Red Bull. He did have about no ERS a few laps ago, and now he's got about 20%, so it looks like he's just saving his ERS levels, his ERS for when Josh eventually pits, so he can use it to catch up to Dan Snyder, who's running at a very strong pace at the moment. And the man who was challenging him before his crash was DRA Norwegian boy, but on those old hard compound tyres he lost it, and he is now going to finish no higher than P12, barring any disqualifications from this race. Angel Dion is very enthusiastic. Money the Cheeks will win this race, or will at least catch up to the Red Bull in front. He will definitely get past this Red Bull, but whether he can hunt down Dan Snyder will be another question which we do not know the answer to in this race, as Josh doesn't pit this lap, so he's going to box in the next few laps. I expect to see him in around lap 20 maybe, and he'll go for another set of the soft compound tyres until the end of the race. But for now, he's just sticking out on those soft compound tyres, as Dirk isn't able to keep with the two in front of him. That gap is now 6.1 seconds, and Jetsi is closing in on the Ferrari drivers. The gap to Dirk is now 3.2, and it was about 4 seconds a lap ago, as Koenig-Klon overtakes. Koenig-Klon is overtaken as he's into the pit lane. Leleking also into the pit lane, but he's an AI car, so pretty irrelevant in this race. But Dizzy Mason, I forgot, will also have to box on those soft compound tyres. He just hasn't been able to keep up with the pace of those in front of him. But Manya De Cheeks now 44% ERS compared to VR Josh's 20. But they're keeping the gap quite consistent to Dan Snyder. It's about 2.3 seconds. So maybe Manya De Cheeks has some stored pace which he's not using at the moment, as Koenig-Klon bucks for hards and comes out and spins instantly on the hard compound tyres. So looks like the hard compound tyres are not the tyre you want to be on in today's race. Two drivers have put them on in today's race, and one of them ended up spinning instantly and DNFing, and the other one spun out of the pit lane as Juanes gets past Dizzy Mason and his teammates into the pit lane, which promotes Manya De Cheeks up into P2. So let's see if the Alpine driver can hunt down Dan Snyder for P1, as Jetsi will be hunting down Dirk for P3 in this race, as Josh he will overcut his teammate, and I'm surprised he didn't put on another set of the soft compound tyres, which probably would have been more useful to him in this race. But he's gone for another set of the mediums, so he can definitely make those work, but maybe he didn't have a new set of soft compound tyres, so that would be interesting. It's Dizzy Mason doing exactly what I said, following what I thought would have been the predicted strategy. He's going for the soft compound tyres, and he's going till the end of the race. I presume he will get no higher than P8, but will get no lower than P8 unless he crashes or spins. So be a decent result for Aston Martin, who can pick up his first points. And we see M. Wright, Manya De Cheeks for the win. Angel Dion obviously supporting Manya De Cheeks as well, but the gap has gone down from like 2.8 to 2.6, so there is a chance that Manya De Cheeks can win this race, and that would be glorious to see a tier 3 driver winning in tier 2. But he has to keep his composure, and he has to keep his cool and not bin it in the barriers like we've seen Norwegian Boy and Prince Conte do today, and obviously the two McLarens who were wiped out in a bizarre incident which I've not seen footage of yet. So we'll have to see that after the race, as it looked very weird as they were right behind each other and had both lost the same right tyre. So maybe they were doing some parking in the straight, I'm not quite sure. Maybe MW15 took his wheel issues to his pedals got too broken and his car just completely stopped in the straight instead of just braking. But we'll have to wait and see, as Koenig-Klon spins again on the hard compound tyres. So the hards not worked for anyone today, so that is quite unfortunate for the drivers that put them on. And I'm sure drivers racing in PS Tier 2, PS Tier 1 and PS Tier 3, PS Tier 1 and PC Tier 1 will learn from today's race if you're watching, and hopefully not put on the hard compound tyres, as they do not seem to work around here. As M. Wright joking around with me in the chat, it's nice to see you in the chat, as Dan Snyder fakes going into the pit lane, but he's not really faked anyone, as Manya De Cheeks, the gap at the front is now 2.5, so this can be very interesting towards the end of this race. It looks like the Alpine driver has more pace than the Alfa Romeo, but does he have enough pace to catch up to the Alfa Romeo at the end of the race? They both have around, well, Dan Snyder has a bit more ERS, but it's around the same. The gap is now 2.3 exiting sector 1, so it looks like the Alpine driver, if he can keep up with this pace, might have a slim chance of getting past Alfa Romeo towards the end of this race, and that would be the biblical scenes, as Arava would say. Yeah, Emrai, I know you're MW15 because of your old Discord name, which you changed. So yeah, I know that you're MW15. But Dirk is under pressure from the other Alfa Romeo of Jetsi, who wants his P3 back. He wants to finish where he started today's race, and the Ferrari is going to be giving his all to make sure that doesn't happen for the Alfa Romeo. As I'm just going to check who has the fastest lap, as I'm not quite sure. This has Juanes with 29.5, so very nice lap time from the Red Bull driver, who'll pick up an extra point for his constructor, as Jetsi ran a bit wide, exiting sector 2. Dan Snyder predicting, Rick Holt saying Jetsi is better than Dan Snyder. Well, from the race right now, it doesn't look like it, but I presume that could have been very different had Jetsi taken pole, as he now moves up to P3 in this race, getting himself back onto the podium positions. Good stuff from the Alfa Romeo driver, but the gap at the front is now stabilized. It's stayed at 2.5 on this lap, so doesn't look like Money the Cheeks has enough pace. But who knows? Towards the end of the race, the Alpine driver might be able to get past. Rick Holt claiming that Snyder is lucky. Well, if he's lucky, it's one of the best drives I've ever seen for someone of luck. He has led every lap in this race, I believe. Excuse me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's led every lap this race. So no, yes, he has led every lap this race. So a very dominant drive from the Alfa Romeo driver so far, who can hopefully retain his lead. But I'm sure there are many in chat that will be disagreeing with me, as they want to see Money in the Cheeks win. As Dizzy Mason has lost it on the exit of turn 2. Not great for the Aston Martin driver, but he has enough of a gap to Danilo anyway, so he'll be able to stick his P10, his P8, but Money to Chicks has pulled into the pit lane. Now, he's boxed for new softs, but why would he do that? He could have stayed out and got a guaranteed P2, but now he's going to have to work to even stay in the top 4, because Josh is coming down towards turn 1 now, as Jetsi picks up 3-second time penalty. So that'll mean Dirk will get a guaranteed podium now, unless he also makes a mistake, but he'll move up to P2, ruining the Alfa Romeo 1-2. But Money the Cheeks, why would he box? Because now he's 11 seconds off the guys in front, and he is on fresh softs, to be fair, and those mediums will be dead. Like I said earlier, when these guys box with mediums under safety car, 20, like anything above 15 laps on the medium compound tires is pretty much hell. So yeah, the gap's already down to 9.8, so he could make it work, but he won't catch Dan Schneider, but he might catch Dirk and Jetsi if he's lucky. But it's a very interesting call. Maybe he could make it work. We saw this strategy from Hamilton in Spain and from Verstappen in I can't quite remember which track it was now, but we've seen this tactic before where Hamilton boxed for new softs, or Verstappen boxed for new softs, and was able to hunt down their championship lead. Oh, it was France. Verstappen boxed for new softs and hunted down Hamilton towards the end of the race and won it. But I don't think Money at the Cheeks quite has Verstappen or Hamilton pace as of right now, as he's not taking massive amounts of time out of Dan Schneider's lead. Let's see the gap to lead. It's about 22.2 right now, so we'll monitor that gap, but with 5 laps to go, it's almost impossible for the Alpine driver to catch up to Dan Schneider. Sorry, 6 laps to go. But if he can do it, this will be one of the greatest drives in NRL history. to P1, but I highly doubt he'll be able to do it. He'll be lucky to catch these guys in front, the Alfa Romeo of Jetsy and the Ferrari of Dirk. Money the Cheeks, well, he has a championship battle to fight with Kieran in Tier 3, so it'll be interesting to see what those guys can do. Down in Tier 3, as we see Kieran have a massive moment. Kieran, obviously championship leader right now. He's won 2 races out of 3 in Tier 3, but hasn't had the best race here tonight, whereas Money the Cheeks has gone fastest lap with 28.7. He's done 1 race in Tier 3 due to him not being able to make the first 2 rounds and finish P2 in that race. So if he could keep up his good form from today into Wednesday's race, hopefully he can take a win and those two can duel it out for the Tier 3 championship, which would be very interesting to see. But Kieran's into the pit lane for new soft compound tyres. He will not lose any positions, as Dizzy Mason is about 43 seconds off him, but the gap from Dirk to Money the Cheeks is only 4.4 now, so maybe Money the Cheeks is proving me wrong, as the gap to leaders also 18.3, so he's gained 4 seconds on that lap. If someone was to do the calculations, essentially if he gained 4 seconds on that lap and there's 5 laps to go, he should technically get that Snyder by the end of the race, but that doesn't account for battles with Dirk and Jetsy and also his tyres going off towards the end of the race. But you'll have to wait and see what the Alpine driver can do, as he's definitely very, very quick right now. Only 3 seconds off Dirk when it was about 11 when he came into the pit lane, and Josh was in his DRS when he came into the pit lane. He's now almost 7 seconds behind. So let's see what Money the Cheats can do towards the end of this race. He's going to give us a battle near the front, which we can hopefully relish for races to come, future races to come, with it being in the highlight reel for the Bahrain and the NRL Bahrain GPs. We get a lovely camera angle of him going through the 2 S corners before the tricky downhill braking, which then turns into uphill where you have to shift up to 6th gear, maybe 7th, before shifting down back into 2nd, and an even trickier downhill braking, which is so easy to get wrong. The gap is now 1.4 to him and Dirt, and the gap between him and the start is 15. Sorry, what is it? It's 15.8. As J-Ball left the session, I think he joined the session during qualifying, but wasn't able to get in a car, which is unfortunate for him. And he had to spectate the whole of this race, so he will not be retaining his 100% win record in Tier 2 around Bahrain, as obviously won the season finale last season around Bahrain for Mercedes, which he currently drives for this season as well. Munya is definitely picking up the pace. Angel Don, here he comes. The first car he has to negotiate is the man in P2, essentially the championship leader, as Crumpton is left. Dirk _2864, can he get past the Mexican Ministry of Defense? The Ferrari's going to make that car as wide as possible. Can Manya the Cheek stick to the inside? Yes, he can. He fakes going to the outside and goes to the inside, but he's outbroken himself, and Dirk gets the switchback. So a pretty simple move from the Ferrari there. But Manya the Cheek definitely has the pace as Kieran goes and sets the fastest lap with a 28.1. Coney Clont is spun again at the back of the grid, so unfortunate for him. Let's cut back to this battle. Surely Manya the Cheeks will get the move done into turn 10, I believe, as he has the DRS. He's pretty much got the move done on the exit of the corner, so he's gotten past Dirk, but I'm sure that would have taken him more time than he would have wanted, and the gap is now 14 seconds, so he's only gained about 1 second in the previous lap, as Dizzy Mason had a bit of a moment out of the final corner. And can Manya Cheeks hunt down Jetsy for P2? I believe, yeah, Jetsi has a 3-second time penalty, so he only needs to get within 3 seconds of the Alfa Romeo, but surely it'll be impossible for him to get Jetsi now. 13 seconds in 2 laps is impossible unless the Alfa Romeo makes a mistake, but it doesn't look like he will. It's been another dominant drive from the Alfa Romeo driver, who's been very good today, once again showing his pace. But Manuel de Cheeks is definitely showed his pace and showed why he maybe should be in tier 2, as he's going to be all over the back of Jetsi on the final lap. He just needs to get within 3 seconds to get his P2 back, but if he wants to put on a real show, he can overtake the Alfa Romeo if he wanted to. Rick Holt, great race. I'm going to subscribe. Thank you for the subscription. You love to see it. Really grateful for the subscription. Helps the league out a lot. And yeah, it has been an absolutely fantastic race to watch and commentate on. And hopefully Money the Cheats can end his race on a high and possibly catch up to Jetsi, but I don't think it will be possible as the gap's 2.3. So he will get P2, but it's been a fantastic race to commentate on. Unfortunately, there wasn't a full grid today, but still, it's been a very high quality race in tier 2, once again proving why it is, in my opinion, the league in NRL with the most action. And that might be biased because I commentate on it every week, but I truly believe it is the most action-packed league in NRL. So if you ever want to watch action-packed racing, join us for tier 2 every Monday at 8 PM GMT. Next week we have USA, which will be an interesting track to watch. It's my least favourite track on the F1 game, so I'm quite grateful that I'm not driving it, but you have to wait and see how these drivers can do. It looks like Dirk, unfortunate for the Mexican driver, he will not be scoring a podium in today's race, but he will get P4, which is very good, but he will drop behind the 2 Alfa Romeos in the championship battle and will drop to P3 in the championship, so not what he would have wanted to see. Dan Snyder will take the championship win, but he's not been challenged all race. He's led every single lap of this race. It's been a very dominant drive from Dan Snyder, who's led all 29 laps of tonight's Bahrain Grand Prix. He crosses the line and wins under the lights. Great race on Alfa Romeo driver. Manu de Cheeks has just managed to get within Jetsi's DRS range at the end of the race, but he will overtake the Alfa Romeos on penalty towards the line. Very great drive from the tier 3 driver, who maybe proves why he should be in tier 2. What a fantastic race from him. Dirk reaches P4 with Josh and has won his P5 and 6 for Red Bulls, as well as jumps in front of his teammate due to his teammate's penalty. So unfortunate for VR Josh. A very solid result from Red Bull again. They haven't been near the top of the race results, but they've been consistent, and that's what's kept them in P7 this P6 so far in this constructors. Disney Mason got lapped, finished P9. Good result for the British driver, who gets his first points of the season on the board. Very nice stuff. Nelly King finishes P10, but his result will be void because he didn't actually complete any laps as he left the session before the race. So that means Coney Crunt will pick up 1 point from this race, and Danilo will be the last car to cross the line in P8. A disappointing race for the Colombian driver once again, who we know has the pace to challenge at the top with his 1 race win from last season and his multiple podiums, but he hasn't been able to make it work this season. But that is it for tonight's race. What a fantastic race, as Munya de Cheeks wins drive of the day, fully deserved. Definitely my driver of the day as well. Fantastic race, fantastic drive from the Alpine driver, who picks up P2. I'm sure he'll be absolutely chuffed with that result. But what could have been if he'd stayed out on the medium tyres? Could he have caught Rick Holt? in the end, he didn't lose anything by boxing for the soft compound tyres, but we could have had a real race on our hands, as he was gaining by about 2 to 3 tenths a lap. But that Slider wins his second race of the season, making it 2 wins out of 4 for the Alfa Romeo driver, and it's the first double podium of the season for Alfa Romeo, who get both their drivers on the podium and will retain their constructors championship lead. Let's run you through the final race results. Dan Snyder finishes P1 after a dominant race where he led every single lap of the race. Money the Cheeks, who had very good pace in today's race, finishes P2 in the Alpine, a tier 3 driver of course. Jetsy finishes P3, making it an Alfa Romeo 1-3. Dirk finishes P4 with Hezwanis and Josh in P5 and 6 with Red Bull. Kieran finishes P7, the tier 3 championship leader, also picks up the fastest lap with Danilo P8. Dizzy Mason P9 and Lelo King P10. Conan Kron finishes 11th with Norwegian Boy being the first of the retirees, Prince Conte and the 2 McLarens P14 and 15, who had that very unfortunate incident down towards turn 1, but well, they didn't even get past turn 1 to be honest, but they had that very unfortunate incident with Danilo, which I'm sure will be reviewed by the Steelers. But it's been a fantastic race. Thank you all for joining me today, and I hope you will catch me next week for the USA Grand Prix. So that'll be very interesting to see who's on the pace around there. But thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed your night. I'll see you all next Monday for the Tier 2 USA Grand Prix. I've been VR_F1 Lover commentating, and I'll see you all next week. Thank you.